Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back. It's. We didn't leave you. This isn't like when your dad went out for cigarettes. Um, yes, my sense of humor is unchanged. This is the last time I'm saying this. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Joe.
Happy New Year and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays as well.
It's that for next year, just in case we missed. Look, don't blame Joe, it's me. And I'm recording, just so you know, I'm recording this in a hotel. I'm in Las Vegas for a thing. I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point. And it's just been chaos since the last episode, but in the best possible way. We'll come to that. Joe, we need to talk about this. We were going to talk about sponsorship, and we've still got the thing we need to make the announcement about the car thing. But sweetheart, when did you pick up a Jenny Craig sponsorship? I mean, you look like an olive on a toothpick, man. I mean, you look healthy.
It's the side effects of tax season. I don't have enough time to drink anymore like I usually do.
You're looking well, my friend. You're looking well. Last time we saw each other, and it was actually only because we've been texting one another every now and again over the last, both just crazy. His tax season, end of year job change, investor rounds, and all that kind of stuff. It is weird doing this in a hotel room because my eye level's here, and I'm used to not looking at the screen. We haven't really spoken to each other for 6 weeks, nearly 8 weeks. It's kind of, I'm not sure when was that thing in December? That was like the first week in December.
Yeah, first or second weekend. So I dropped you off at the airport, and it's the last we've heard.
Yeah, so we both, if you haven't noticed, we were both at the event that Kyle Connor put together. In fact, we should, you know what, let's talk, because we're still putting out content. We've got to talk a bit about that. So not a normal episode, not that we've ever had normal episodes, but if we do a catch up, it's going to be a 3-parter, and that's not fair on you, our wonderful listener. Maybe both of you. I don't know if we've doubled the numbers, but we got a couple of things to talk about. Let's kick off with so in one sentence, how much of your content have you put up? Have you put it? I know I saw the ID4 all-wheel drive. Have you put any of the other ones up?
Yeah, we started with the Volvo, then proceeded to the ID4, and then I just put up the Porsche Taycan Sport Turismo yesterday.
So all right, so if you didn't drive it, say so. Okay. ID4 all-wheel drive, what did you think?
So I come from the crowd that I believe that just winter tires is I think that rear wheel drive and winter tires is always better than all wheel drive and all seasons. However, it does go without saying the extra 100 horsepower is well appreciated in the ID4. So it has certainly has its positives.
Okay. I didn't drive it. So I only had, so Joe was there for both days, and unfortunately I had to fly. I could only be there for one day because I had to go to a funeral. So one of those sad things. Let's go with Volvo XC40.
That's the vehicle that I was the most surprised by at the entire event. We expected the Audi to be great or other cars like that.
No, don't ruin. You're ruining it, Joe. You're pre-gaming. You're foreshadowing.
Did I say Audi? I meant we expected the.
I thought it was. I called it. I can't remember. I think I called it bipolar or schizophrenic. I mean, the handling was good, but it goes like a stabbed cat. I mean, it was.
And it also does the around town thing impressively well, right? As well.
My synopsis was, if you want to do rallycross in a Whole Foods car park, and we did, that's the vehicle. That is the vehicle. What a Mustang. Well, let's treat them both together. Just Mustang GT Performance.
The performance I would gladly own. The GT is just a little too. I felt like I could definitely tell the difference between the suspension. So too bouncy in the regular GT.
I'm just going to say compromised.
Yeah.
I think they're fine at GT as a Grand Tourer, but not GT as a sports car. And it's not. It's the chassis and it's the way the seats sit on the chassis. It just feels disconnected. You feel disconnected from the chassis. It may
Arguably, I would say it's a quite a bit of a Model Y performance copycat, and I don't know that that's such a great thing to try to copy. Like the Volvo can be wicked performance, but still have great comfort around town. The Model Y performance is kind of well documented as being way too bouncy, and the Mustang seems to kind of copy that, unfortunately.
I won't agree with you, but I'll say my review of the Mustang stands from the one I did, with the thing that if you get the performance model and you cane it for more than 5 minutes, you lose half the power.
Yeah.
It backs off. I'm leaving one on purpose till the end. What else did we have apart from that?
Oh, the EQS.
The EQS. Yeah.
We spent a lot of time in that vehicle.
That without doubt could be my father's next car.
Yeah, that's the vehicle that I want now, but I can't feasibly in my age group be in right now.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to say you can't afford it, but this is the
right. No, in my age group, I'm supposed to buy a Taycan. It's in 20 years that I'm supposed to buy the EQS, and I'm glad that'll be there. When I get older.
It was an incredibly fast, elegant, quiet sofa. It really was. The only option it didn't have was a sponge bath from Nursey. And I'm sure that's coming. If you think I'm knocking it, I'm not. It's fantastic. The drive, we took it all the way through LA and change. We took it in the canyons. We had some fun with that thing.
My vote is at this point, I think that is the best. I don't know what the DC charging curve is, but I think that is the best road tripping vehicle right now that you could buy.
So let me, I know we said one paragraph each, but I got to ask you a question. Don't over answer this because I don't want you to. Have you shared your video that you were shooting when you dropped me off? Because that was going to be you were doing a big thing with it after that.
Yeah, I haven't done anything with that one yet.
So keep an eye on Joe's channel because he's got a great video coming. I assume he's just getting through tax season and editing and Joe had an opportunity not many people did to give it a serious run out. Most of the cars we had for less than an hour, and he had this one for hours. Although we did have to get up at
like 4 a.m. or something along those lines. It was early. It was an early morning.
And you know the irony, I left you and I got to the airport and then my flight got canceled and I missed the funeral. Yeah. There you go. Sorry, Chuck, not that he's listening to this anymore. Maybe he is, who knows. I'm kind of working my way down the line. We didn't do the Leaf didn't happen. I think
the Taycan and the Rivian were just walk around.
So I think there is just one other vehicle, right?
Oh, the Archimotos were there.
The Archimoto. So what did you take the Archimoto out?
I just around the parking lot because the car I wanted to drive was pulling in as I was about to pull out, so I quickly kind of just sped around the parking lot and went back. But
I took
it's one of those. It would be fun to own, like fun to have one of those around just for the suburban, run to go get dinner, run to go do this or that, the little things around town. It's like basically a more fun smart car.
Well, it's not a car. It's a four-wheel bicycle, but three or four, I can't remember.
Three-wheel, yeah.
I took it out on the freeway. I actually took it up not into the hills, but I did take it sort of 20 blocks away and on the freeway, and it does freeway speeds and it's fine, and you get some interesting looks. Interestingly and not surprisingly, the audio was not that good, but then this thing doesn't have windows. So you can just hear me shouting, "Oh my God, we're not dying yet, but it may happen." But it was tremendous fun. All right, Joe, look, let's be honest about it. There was only one car that matters at the end of the day. Audi e-tron GT. What did you think?
RS.
Was it RS?
It was, yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, my biggest complaint is I only had an hour. Yeah.
I'm in love, Joe.
The biggest thing that everyone was couldn't figure out is, at least from an interior perspective and exterior looks without driving, is the Taycan Sport Turismo versus the Audi was a pretty split decision between the other journalists that were there. The Audi just has a different kind of aura about it. When I drove that vehicle, everyone I drove by, there's first people in 911s next to me giving me thumbs up out the window. You know, it's a special vehicle.
I was blessed. Kyle, we recognize, I was on I didn't have as much time as anybody else, and also we were willing to help out. We went and picked up Dominic at the airport, so we got extra time with the EQS. The day before it went, we went to pick him up at LAX, and I volunteered us for that because I know how far it is to LAX in rush hour traffic, and I knew we could have fun on the way back. Check out my Instagram for pictures of it outside the Comedy Store. And I'm still being asked if that was my car. I'm still getting messages occasionally from other comics saying, was that your car at the store? And then in the morning, on the Saturday morning, they gave me the e-tron first. And literally, we'd done the briefing. I had the keys and I was gone, because I know I've had the privilege of being in that part of Pasadena before, and I know how to get to Angela's Crest. And I knew that everyone else would go there and it would get busy. And so I just, Otherworldly is a fantastic, it's a 5,000 pound ballet shoe. It is the noise it makes. And then don't get me wrong, we're talking about an EV, but the noise is amazing. It's not a simulated V8. It's not some interstellar soundtrack. It's the sound of very physical quiet. It's like, I'll tell you what it's like. Hold on. Yeah. It's like as you accelerate, it's like Barry White whispering in your ear. I can't get down there. It's just, it is the sound of presence. That's it. That is, it is the sound of presence. The acceleration is elegant, brutal.
Whichever mode you put it in, it can do it all. Yeah.
But even when you give it the absolute beans, it gives you the snapback, but it's like Jeeves saying, now just hold on a second. It's a
and then the second surge, when it does shift, when it shifts from first to second, it's like a second punch.
The handling, oh my god, the handling. I drove this thing. Joe, I've not shared the video with anybody. I've not published it. Oh, my laptop just turned off. If we had a glitch there, I do apologize. My laptop just went into pause mode. I was first up the hill, and just as you go past the country club, I came up on the back of 2 Ducatis. I was with them all the way, and no one, and literally they might pull away from me for 30 feet before I was, it was my reactions, not the car's performance that held me back. And then a little bit of self-preservation. I am blessed. I've worked very hard, and I have some share options, and hopefully the company is going to, in the company I used to work for, hopefully they're going to have an exit event at some point soon. And with half the deal is, with half the mortgage paid off and the kids schooling, pay money secured, then Daddy's getting a GT. Oh yeah. And I will then be because there's a whole other stuff going on with this as well, but it is my intention to have that as part of something else I'm doing, but we might come on. You know, I said let's do this quickly, Joe, and as ever, fail.
I don't even know how far we are at this point.
I said we might do this as a two-parter, but the honest thing, I haven't got time to edit it into two, so you're just gonna. It might be a long episode, people. Let's talk. Let's just talk about some of the EV vendors and the things that have been going on. We're not the news people. Not if we're only going to do this, you know, every 6 weeks on this occasion, but this is just what's going on and how we feel about it, and it factoring into our sort of non-Tesla CCS happy world. But we'll talk about Tesla first because I think this is important. It just shows the direction. In you know, government can't do damn all. The Build Back Better thing never happened. Joe Manchin wants the children of West Virginia to continue to work in the coal mines. Yeah, that's right. I'm unchanged. But in the private world, Tesla has 2 factories coming online in the next X number of weeks. Giga Berlin and Texas are likely to start producing Model Ys in volume.
In both factories, yeah.
In both factories. This is, I mean, just wow. I mean, just that is so. It's, the Berlin one has been, you know, I think it's been slower. The Texas one has not just, I mean, it's gone up, and I'm actually going to go and I will actually, well, I'll hold my powder. I will be going to see it briefly in March. Not as an official thing, just for my own eyes on it. I'm attending an event in at the end of March. But yeah, Joe and I will screw it. Let's talk about it now. So Joe and I will be at Fully Charged in Austin in April. Hopefully it's still happening. We plan to do a live recording podcast, a live recording of the podcast. Everything's kind of up in the air right now because COVID and stuff, and these are British people and things are worse there than they are here, and although it'll get worse here and but we'll dedicate an episode at some point soon to what we're going to do as soon as we get to know what it is we're going to do. But hopefully touring Tesla will happen, and if you care, make sure you buy tickets for Kill Tony on Monday, the Monday after. When do you know the dates of Fully Charged? I can't remember the dates. It's the exact.
I want to say it's April 24th. Is that the Saturday or something that weekend? Let's see.
Oh, it's the 26th. It's got to be the 25th. It must be the 26th. I got to check it now on calendar. And the reason I know this is because I now.
Oh, the Kill Tony would be the 25th. It looks like Fully Charged. I have on my calendar is 25th, yeah. 24th.
So, if you want to see and you're in Austin, then Kill Tony on the 25th. I will be there. And most likely I'll be on the show because, hey, Joe, ask me what I'm doing right now.
What brings you out to this hotel looking kind of room?
Funny you should say that, Joe. I'm in Las Vegas, and here's a coincidence, Joe. Tony Hinchcliffe is starting his US tour here in Las Vegas tonight, actually in about 2.5 hours. And what do you know, Joe? I happen to be here, and there's a waistcoat and a tie and a clean shirt on that chair right there. I have no idea what's going on. Maybe
he's going to pick someone from the audience. You know, never know.
No, this isn't that kind of show. This is a proper show. No, I'm on the show tonight. So I'm opening for. I'm not technically opening. I'm going to be a guest. So it's Hans, William, and Tony, and I'm going to do some guest spots, and then I'm going to do some more stuff with him. I think there's some union rules in Vegas for non-casino clubs, and there's a thing, so I can't be the host. But this is airing after that, so it's fine. So yeah, if you want to buy because it sells out in advance. If you want to buy tickets for Kill Tony on the 25th, then do that. And if you are going to be there early, like me and Joe, then you might want to buy tickets for Red Band's Secret Show on the 21st. On Thursday, the 21st, it's called Secret Show, because there's a 99.9% chance that I'm going to be on that as well. Now that whether that's going to be at the Vulcan or at Joe Rogan's new comedy club, we don't know, because that depends on when Joe gets his liquor license. So yeah.
Speaking of licensing, that's I think kind of what, circling back to Tesla, that's kind of what killed them in Berlin with these delays, is a lot of government licensing sort of issues.
It's twofold. A, there's the production side of things, but also they've got a testing cycle they have to do, because this might be a Tesla Model Y, but it's a Tesla Model Y made in Giga Berlin, and it has to go through full safety because it's a different Model Y to the ones we have. They've built these structural battery packs, which will not have structural battery, but they're not going to have the battery packs. They're going to put the 2720, 2750 batteries in there.
Yeah, that's
now, and then and so there's a testing and manufacturing. Elon said, and he's absolutely right, I've done hardware manufacturing, not of cars, of other things, and he's absolutely right. Manufacturing's hard, so it's interesting to see them go through this process. But yeah, it's cool. Let's Rivian is in the news, and I don't want to talk about the news, but I don't know about you, and I know I'm not in California now, I'm in Nevada, but I'm seeing quite a lot of Rivian trucks. They as of like, I think it's a week ago, they've delivered 1,000. Congratulations. I know it's less than they planned. Manufacturing's hard. There's a recurring theme. And this is a lot of ex-Tesla people. They lost their chief operating officer, which is never a good thing. And they've now delayed their mega pack version, the super long range one, till 2023, demonstrating again that manufacturing's hard. EVs are normal, manufacturing's hard. Have you seen any Rivians in real life other than the one in Pasadena yet, my friend?
No trucks, but I've seen one Amazon van on the road at this point. But I know that they've been pivoting to try to get. They have some sort of commitment that they're going to deliver X amount of vans this year. So I know they're kind of trying to balance building those and the process of also building the trucks, and they've also promised SUVs to people soon. So yeah.
We'll see what it's interesting. And I mean, don't follow us for share price advice or anything like that, but they did take a hit because Amazon announced that they're also going to buy electric Ram ProMasters, and they're buying more of those than they are Rivians. But that just sort of shows Amazon's recognition of lowering cost and cost of ownership, cost of acquisition, financing, how serious they are. It also says that maybe Stellantis is getting almost serious. I'm sure that the electric Ram ProMaster is going to have Fiat 500 parts in it. I have absolutely no doubt at all. But it does show that direction.
I'm not sure about that brand, the whole Ram brand, because they finally come out with their first electric car, that Chrysler Airflow, and I think that's supposed to be in 2024. So that's still, I mean, many years away.
We have a Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid, and it's absolutely fine. My father-in-law loves his minivan. He's not a sports car person. He loves his minivan, and he loves the fact that when you have $5 gas, he gets 30 miles ish out of that without. I have noticed it does take a hit in the winter, even in California winter. I don't know what it's like where you live, but anyway, I digress. Let's go to the other news we've got Lyrics going into pre-production, F-150s going into pre-production, F-150 Lightnings. Have you ordered yours? Have you been asked if you want to confirm your order yet?
I actually pivoted on that, and I'm going with the method of I'll just find one at a dealer before waiting on Ford's terms.
I see where you're going. I haven't been given my opportunity yet, but I am. This is what troubles me, Joe. my $43,000 list plus taxes ID4 was tremendous value. One of the reasons I bought it was because compared to a Model Y, it had more, if not the same room. Yes, it has a slower charging speed. The range is near as damn it identical at highway speeds. Having driven it to New York and back from San Francisco, I've no doubt that it's capable of doing, long range driving. In fact, I was going to drive it to Vegas tomorrow morning. No, today. But in the end, I found because they wanted ridiculous money for flights, but then I found a cheap Frontier flight and I only needed a tiny bag. So I was like, yeah, we'll do that. $70 well spent. But if you want the extra, it's $68,000 if you want the bigger battery, and it's got increased trim and everything like that. And I'm like, yeah.
More than that, basically what they're doing is an XLT starts at like, I think 52-ish thousand. And the battery is 10,000, which, I don't know if that's worth it for 70 extra miles, but we can go there later. But they're forcing you to option it with other interior option packages that basically adds another 9,000. So they're adding $19,000 in options just to get 70 miles in range, which, and then the only way you can get the base model, the Pro with the long range, you need to be a Pro customer, fleet customer through Ford. So they're basically saying, if you want 300 miles in a truck, spend 70,000.
Yeah.
For me, I'm hoping to get an XLT at the 52, and we know how to use 250-mile range vehicles around, efficiently. So,
well, yeah, so I haven't got to make a decision yet. My other thing is I want it to be able to use it as a battery, but at that price, it's like I can just buy the friggin' battery for the house as opposed to having. My wife was like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, well, and Sunrun. Here's a bit that's a bit annoying, and there's just a lot of questions over this, and it's worth its own video.
That's where I was going to go.
So Sunrun are doing the Pro House thing. There's questions about the ampage because apparently you might need to have 320 amp service. I can tell you, even my part of California, 320 amp service is not that normal. My house, up until 10 years ago, well, a bit less than that, only had 100 amps. We actually had to upgrade.
I'm still on 100 amp.
We had to upgrade to 200 when we had solar installed. That was so. And I think there's a podcast. I think, and I haven't checked. Tom from State of Charge was going to do a pod with the Ford guy about this, and I've just been too busy to see if he's done that. But we'll come back to this one in next episodes to see, because I'm looking, and Sunrun are going to do the installations, but Sunrun, they're not providing the ability to solar charge. So if you have a power outage, one of the things about having a power outage, if you have solar, you can't use your solar if you have power out, because you'll put energy back into the grid and that might fry people. So you have to have a disconnect, but then you have to have the batteries. There is a disconnect in this whole process that there's a question about if you have batteries, if you have an F-150 Lightning and solar, can you charge the car with your solar in the event of a power cut? Because that's like the #1 use case for Californians who have solar panels, who, like myself, has lost power multiple times because of wildfires. So it's we have questions. Last one before we think, seeing Lucids everywhere. They're doing I saw they're doing the long on Instagram or on Twitter. Tom's doing the long range drive test. He's doing the 70 mile an hour test right now. I don't know if he's published numbers, but
I know he won't publish them until the video goes up. So I think in the next couple of days we'll be able to see that. But
Jay Leno,
he did say he was impressed.
Oh, I got to have a play with one briefly about 2 weeks ago. I took it. I didn't have a camera or anything with me. I just had my phone, I suppose. There's an owner lives just near me, so I got to believe it or not, we got talking while I was taking out my trash cans, because I pulled them down the hill with my arm out of the ID4, and he said, "Is that an ID4?" And I said, "Is that a Lucid?" Anyway, he recognized me. Go figure. Anyway, so he said so I took it for a spin, and I have to say, it's very comfortable. I didn't have enough long with it, but to say, but if I was going to try and break the record for driving a car across the country, I know which one I would use. It wouldn't be the EQS, it would be that. It's very nice. It's very nice.
How would you say it compares to the EQS from just a comfortable daily driver sort of feel?
See, I struggle with the question, and here's the reason why, Joe. And we've talked about this. I consider all my cars to be semi-agriculture. I had bales of hay in the back. In fact, yeah, there's still probably bits of hay in there. I had bales of hay in the back of my car 6 days after buying it, helping out one of my farmers' neighbors, my neighbor farmers. And so a daily driver, for me, it's not the daily drive. It's the, for me, daily driver versus value is another thing. And I think I find it better. I find it to be more, I find it, whatever the, if you want to say the EQS was too comfortable, it was slightly very fast but disengaging. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And those are my comments. That's my thing. It's a fantastic, very fast couch. It's a high energy, high efficiency Barker lounger. The Lucid is much more engaged. I prefer it. Now I didn't take it on I only took it on 1.5 miles of freeway and maybe 4 or 5 miles of residential roads. So I don't think that's fair. But I just found it very, I liked it. Now, the natural question then is, well, John, would you have that instead of an Audi e-tron GT? Nope. I'd have the Audi.
I don't think I would either.
I'd have the Audi. But you know what? I look forward to being able to put my money where my mouth is, and then having to struggle. It's what a fantastic problem to have. Do I go with the Audi e-tron, or do I, because in the timeline map, or do I look at the Gran Turismo? That's the Porsche, the slightly built up Porsche. I don't know. We'll see. Make sure, if you haven't, subscribe to find out what John's going to do at some point in the future at a time that's not been determined. Otherwise, you might miss out. We talked briefly about VW, but pre-production ID buzzes, an announcement in 5 weeks' time, I think, on it. The ID4 2022 models announced, and you said they're increasing the charging. What was it you said they would do?
Yeah, I saw an article that says they're going to have 135 kilowatt charging, slight range bump. What was the other thing? And I think it was just it basically just seemed like they're going to have the software update that we've been waiting forever for. Back to the buzz though. Something else, a rumor I had heard about that. I know Volkswagen has said that they're only bringing the fully loaded buzz to the US. But I also know when I was at a Ford F-150 event, they alluded to saying that they have, through their partnership with Volkswagen, they'll be bringing a small van to the US. So it kind of makes sense that maybe Volkswagen will sell it as a fully loaded van, but maybe you can get a work version or less equipped version rebranded as a Ford Transit Connect. But news to come on that, I'm sure.
It would be interesting to see that. I do. I do know there would be a market for a longer range Ford Transit than a Ford Transit with a battery, because that's got all the inefficiencies that go with it. But yeah, you mentioned it. Still no OTA. Yeah. Why, John? Why do you care? I don't like hypocrisy, and I don't like lying. I think if you go for the CEO head, this is going to say that we're delivering software updates every 12 weeks. I think it'd be nice if they had some ring of truth to that, because we ain't seeing crapola.
I think it's about 52 weeks ago that they made that statement. I think
Well,
that
that statement
last
actually was
January.
made, that with respect, my friend, with that respect, that statement was made actually in the fall, in November. I know because I retweeted it and called bullshit on it. I think I'm saddened that they've only managed to raise it to 135, because I know 175 was being talked about. Now it might be that 135 is more sustained, but then you have to ask, what have they done? Why can't they get closer to Tesla's in that? It's the same battery pack size. So you would think that they would be able to have the same C rating. You'd think that they would be able to get it to in excess of 150, up to 50%, which a Model 3 has been able to do for a long time. It's got an advanced cooling system, but I don't know. I still, you know,
A rumor that I had heard is that they're working quite feverishly to get an app store, some sort of purchase program set up. So I think it would make sense that they'll have the 135 on the new cars with the software update or whatever. And then they want to be able to try to sell people 150 or 175 or whatever it's going to be as an upgrade, which is just very frustrating to witness when the other electric car company in Cupertino just gives those updates for free. You know, when Tesla decides that they can handle more charging on their cars, they bump out a software update and everyone wakes up to faster charging.
And conversely, they remove it as well when they take the data that says that, you know, preserving the battery comes at a cost.
Right.
We will see, but yeah, the 2022 model will have bigger cup holders as well for the American markets, apparently, and I agree with this. Whilst I'm not an American, I'm looking like one. While Joe's losing weight, I think I've gained what he's lost. I've kind of gone through America and I'm now heading towards Samoan kind of at this point. Anyway, the 2022 built-in America version will have bigger cup holders. It will have a remodified, it will have an American-centric center console, which apparently is code for big gulp, baby, big gulp.
I know one feature we're going to lose is the power passenger seats. I know they said they were going to take that away in the American market. Have you heard anything about because they had originally talked that they wanted to give a smaller battery option out of Tennessee as well.
Yeah, and that makes sense, but that'll be later in the year. And this is all part of the transition because the battery chemistry is going to come from
SK.
Yeah. So we will see. We will see.
Oh, maybe that's why they're expecting that bigger range, or is because maybe that
battery
chemistry is a little better.
Change. It could also be they're shipping it with smaller wheel or bigger wheels. It could be.
Yeah.
It's not a noticeable. It's not a massive difference. And we know that.
I was going to say one point that's actually quite interesting that I know I've heard on other networks is with the ID4 you go to all-wheel drive, you only lose 10 miles, which is quite impressive. If you go with the Mach-E or the Ioniq, it's a substantial hit to range by adding that extra motor, especially the Ioniq is like a 50-mile drop, which I'm not sure how that's occurring, that they're losing that much range out of adding an extra motor.
I think, well, first of all, the motors are heavy. They're not highly optimized for weight and efficiency, and apparently they're not working together efficiently. One of the key things. Now, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Bjorn. It might have been somebody else. But they actually installed something that showed effort being made by the motors. And on the dual motor Tesla, one of the front motor basically was disengaged for a huge amount of the time, but also where it is in the body. Anyway, I'm not an expert, but we have friends that are. Let's wrap this up is what I'm thinking, my friend, so we don't go into a second show. We're almost at I'm not sure now. Where's the meeting clock? I can't see.
About an hour, seems like. I think, yeah.
I think we're getting maybe a little bit less. We look forward to seeing some of you at Fully Charged in Austin at the end of April. We'll have more on that when we have it. We are locked and loaded. We have flights booked. We have an Airbnb booked with an electric car charging port. You're flying, my friend. Are you driving? Are you not decided yet?
Haven't decided yet.
So we have an Airbnb with a car charger in case Joe decides to.
If I need content, I'll be driving to make a road trip.
I will be flying because I found out today I'd already booked my flights because I'm supporting a corporate security event on the Friday, which was my excuse for being there and not pissing off the wife. Not that she listens to this podcast, she won't know. But I just found out that I have to fly to Baltimore at 5:30 in the morning on Tuesday. So the day we leave on Tuesday morning, I have to get a 5:30 a.m. flight to Baltimore to speak at a security conference. Oh joy. Every time I fly into Austin over the next couple of months, I have to leave on the 5 a.m. flights the next morning. So if you want to see what John looks like sober on a Monday night performing comedy, buy your tickets for Kill Tony. What else is there? I think that's pretty much it, Joe. Other than that, I gotta say, buddy, let's make sure we do this again next week. Let's not let this amount of time go. If you haven't, subscribe to Joe's channel. There's a link in the show notes, JKEV. He's going to be putting up more content. I will get some content put up on my channel on Regular Ruby Dad at some point, but right now I'm trying to hire people so that I can do slightly different work. This is caused by trying to create a $45 million sales pipeline. I have loads of budget and no people. Welcome to the problems of America. And I'm not hiring people to work in Denny's. I'm hiring regular marketing people. So yeah, welcome to my world. If you want to see me perform, if you're in the Bay Area, just go to BritishJohn.com. I don't think I've touted British John. Maybe I have. I'm not sure. Anyway, BritishJohn.com. Doesn't matter how you spell John. British is always the same way. I have shows coming up in February and in March, and everything should be on there except for the Kill Tony things because they're not official. And let's do this again shortly soon, Joe. It's been too long. I mean, you've had children since we left. You've got a minion and a football and everything. I mean, the world's gone crazy.
For our own sanity, the only way to avoid hour-long episodes is to do them more often.
Absolutely. All right, Joe. See you soon.
Take care. Till next time.